know every game matters. It's 1 week at a time, but how much does this team get a rise out of you guys and get everyone's attention?
Well, every game's a unit, right? And so you don't want to focus on one game more than the other one, but it is Tampa week. It is a big game. It always is against these guys. I don't think it's anything different in terms of our preparation or anything we do. It's just, a heightened sense of awareness where we're at in the season. It's a late, season division opponent, and that's important as well. So that's just how we're treating it. It's Monday Night Football, which is exciting as well. And so, put everything together. I mean, we're fired up and ready to play the game. And how we practiced last couple days kind of shows the guys they're running around pretty good, and their heads are in the right place and focused on fundamentals and technique, and it's been pretty good.
Does the way Caden Ellis is playing when Werner's healthy, does that make you guys look at the snap distribution at linebacker at all?
It's a conversation, He's definitely earned his right to have some snaps. He made a bunch of plays, been a really good pass rusher for us as well on third down. Good pressure player. And so, look, and he's progressed through the system. He's been here for a number of years, and I think you're kind of seeing, that turn into what he's been doing on the field. And so, yeah, I think he'll get his opportunity to get some more snaps, and we'll kind of figure out how the balance of that as we keep going forward.
Right. Is it possible to take momentum from 1 week to the next? It seems like you guys kind of figured out some stuff that you had been struggling with last week.
Mm-hmm.
Can you carry that forward and kind of find your stride toward the end of the year?
I think that's what you want to do. You want to get better as the season goes on. You always want to play your best ball at the end going into the playoffs. And so I think we're hitting a stride, I think, as a team, and I think the guys are we know who we are as a team now. And so I think as this thing has gone on the last couple of weeks, we've played better football. We just got to continue to do that. And that's been the whole thing is, hey, let's just focus on ourselves this week and just get a little bit better. And I know we've said this every week, but that's been kind of the message to the guys as we've gone through the season. And I think when you do that and you just kind of keep stacking, and you get your team going like this towards the end of the year, and then, you got a chance to make the playoffs and then go on from there.
When you say you know who you are as a team, what has stood out as you found that?
Well, these guys are tough. They play hard. I'll tell you this, a lot of the times our guys don't hang their heads if something doesn't go our way. And so the last couple of weeks, man, they run out on the field and, they're out there to make the next play. I think the guys have been coming together a lot recently, and more on the defensive side than I'm watching because that's more than I'm a part of. But, man, last week they were talking. There was energy on the sideline. I mean, they were really into it last couple of weeks. And so we just got to continue that going. And I know it will be like that on Monday night for sure.
When you're not getting the sack production, is the pressure not what you've wanted so far this season, or is that just not sacks?
Well, what's the sack production? How many do we have?
Well, I mean, I guess especially from the defensive ends that
Well, look,
we're used to seeing, on pace for double digits, I guess.
Yeah, I think, sacks are a defensive team statistic. And if they double team an end or chip or take a back and as much 3 down as we're in and give some other guys some opportunities. And so you just look at the overall number. And when you look at the overall number, I think we're in the top 10, and I think going into last week, we're in the top 5, and so we just want to continue to go. And you guys said at the very beginning, you don't have any sacks of first game and won the second game. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. And, we've kind of put some together better pass rush games. But a lot of that is sometimes the scheme that you're going against too. And this quarterback, the ball's out. And to me, it's really not about the sacks. It's about the effects. We move them off the spot, bat some balls, hit him a few times, and that when you do that, you get him off rhythm. And then, he holds it once or twice and you get him down. But if the ball goes to the first or the second read, most of the time in this league, you're not going to get there. It doesn't matter who it is. And so that's why we focus. It's a team statistic, because without those guys, and I'll tell you this, our secondary has been covering pretty good lately now. I mean, they really have. And for the whole season, they've put a pretty – you look at our passing yards numbers, they've been pretty good. Better than some years in the past when we've had some pretty good defenses. And so that helps as well. And that's the main thing. When you can't get out real quick and go to 1 or 2, and gives us, some time. And, so it's a whole thing. And then, we pressure sometimes. So I think the pressure it's been okay. Obviously, being a D line coach, you want more sacks from your position, but man, we just want to win football games. That's what it's about.
Are you getting that effect from Davenport? It seems like he's around the quarterback like all the time, but just for whatever reason, the door's not open for the sacks.
Yeah, Marcus is a disruptive player. Sometimes you might see just a couple of tackles, but when you turn on the game tape and you go, man, he disrupted a lot of balls are coming out quicker. He's getting close to the quarterback, making the quarterback throw before, making the ball, if it's handed, bounce around outside. Somebody else is making a play, and so he doesn't always show up in the stat sheet at the end of the game, but he does affect the game. And that's the important thing at D-line. You have to affect the game. You can't. Ball disruption is make the offense do something not on time, whether that be a running play or a passing play. And Marcus is a very good ball disruption player. And he has been his whole career. It's just the stats that aren't, it's not like he has 7 tackles or 4 sacks a game, things like that, So he has put together a few games, but for the most part, it's just disrupt, get him off balance, get him behind the chains, and Marcus does a good job of that.
How close do you feel like the group is to creating more takeaways? I know you guys were real close last week on a couple balls. Just how do they create takeaways?
It's frustrating sometimes, because ball's on the ground, ball's in the air, and we had a chance to go get it, and Anyamata comes around and hits his helmet and goes straight up, and you're like, all right, we got one. Then they batted down. Fullback made a heck of a play on their part, heads up play. But no, look, it's we want them. It's not the lack of effort or the communication about them. Our guys they're focused on it. It's just just got to stay the course and not push, because when you push too much, then you lose tackling and try to do things outside the scheme. And so they have to come within the scheme, run into the football, the effort, plays like that. So
This is kind of a wild question for December, but do you feel like you're still kind of figuring out what this group can do now that you're finally getting players healthy and starting to keep Marshawn on the field and kind of just seeing it Coleman for the first time?
yeah, I haven't really thought about it like that. It's just I've taken this week as a defensive staff and just the best game plan to go beat this team with the players that we have. And obviously, it's a lot about this game is about players. The better players you have, most of the time, the more favorable the outcome of the game is. And so, yes, some of our guys have come back. But I do feel like, at certain positions we have a deep group at certain positions, and so it gives opportunities to some of those young guys. For example, Alontae Taylor. We had a couple of injuries, and now he got thrown in there, and then you're seeing what kind of player he is. So it's been good on the other hand too, but now you bring those guys back and you've kind of figured out a Caden Ellis and Alontae Taylor, and you add that to the group, and now you get better players as a whole defensive unit.
You kind of talking about finding your stride toward the end of the season. Is Adibo somebody who's ascending at the right time?
I think so. I think he's playing. He made a couple of plays last week that you're like, wow. Really good football plays. I tell you this, he plays fundamentally sound. He plays hard. He plays tough. And when you do that, and consistently do that, that's when then you get confidence in your ability and your fundamentals. And I think that's what you're seeing with him, because he's put together a few good games in a row now. And I think he had a lot of success as a rookie. And he got kind of nicked up coming out of camp a little bit, and so now he's gained his, like you said, gained his stride and put together a few games, and you can feel the confidence of the player, keep growing every week.
How much do you watch the week 2 tape between the Buccaneers and Saints versus their later games, more recent film?
Yeah, actually, we've watched week 2, and then last year week 2 and week 1, and so look, you look at what you've done against them, what they've done against you, and then you look at what they've done lately, and then you kind of put together a game plan, mainly what they've done against us, but hey, we got to take this away, or we got to take this, what's working for them lately. And so we've studied it pretty good. Thought our guys played hard that game. We were physical. Played a good game against them. We affected them. I mean, I don't remember exactly what the stat time to throw was, but he got hit a few times and he was uncomfortable. Game came down. I mean, that was the same game that we've played that at their place last year. I mean, the same type of game. It was a physical run game, low scoring, that type of deal. But then we've had some high scoring games against them and me, I don't want a high scoring game. I want to keep it low on their side and score a bunch on our side. So, but yeah, we studied it pretty good, and I know our guys have a lot of confidence going into this one.
Has Bond been one of those guys that's taking advantage of the opportunities too, especially?
Yeah, that's a good one. No, I mean he really has. Yeah, he's made a few plays, and I tell you, he plays strong at the line of scrimmage. He's a really good on the ball player. He had a couple pass rush last week. He hit Garoppolo pretty violently, which was pretty good to see. It was good to see. And then he's still in terms of he's not a young player, but in terms of his defensive snaps, and so he's growing confidence as well. The more he's out there, because last two games for him have been, last game was probably his best game, I thought. Just watching the tape and watching him move around, but then the confidence level and the look in his eye, like I've been here before, I know how to do this. So yeah, he'll get another opportunity this week.
So I guess the natural question when we're talking about Vaughn playing really well, Ellis playing really well, Pete having a really good season before the injury.
Mm-hmm. Good problems to have, right?
How good of a coach has Hodges been? Bringing those guys like young
Sure.
players along and having those guys.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, Mike's done a good job with those guys. He really has. It's going to be when we get into our nickel package and we got two linebackers on the field. Those guys have earned their right some snaps to play ball. And Pete's up until the injury, he was playing really, really well too. So it's a good group. I mean, it really is. It's a good group. Those guys play together really good. They play within the scheme. Made a lot of tackles now, a lot of tackles for us. So good problems going forward. So good. Okay, thanks guys. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Thank you.